Hello everyone, welcome. Welcome to English with Shalini. In this video, we will discuss about University Wits. University Wits is a phrase used to name a group of late 16th century English playwrights and pamphleteers who were educated at the universities of Oxford or Cambridge and who became popular secular writers of Elizabethan period. The term was used by Saintbury, George Saintbury, and he coined the term University Wits. Saintbury was 19th century journalist and author. You can see in the picture George Saintbury. Now, who were they? They were seven dramatists in this group. They are John Lilly, George Peele, Robert Greene, Christopher Marlowe, Thomas Kidd, Thomas Nash, Thomas Lodge. Now, these writers, Christopher Marlowe, Robert Greene, and Thomas Nash, studied from Cambridge, and John Lilly, Thomas Lodge, and George Peele studied from Oxford. Now, what about Thomas Kidd? Thomas Kidd did not study in any of this university or any university, but still he is in this group because his writing style was similar to these university wits, and he collaborated with them also. He was contemporary of them. Now, these university wits are passionate about dramas and are arrogant about their position because they were university scholars. So, they ridiculed other dramatists, other writers who were not educated like them. And education they received from their university, they were proud of that. They paved a way for William Shakespeare. They were pioneers and masters of William Shakespeare. They paved the way for William Shakespeare to develop in field of drama, and hence they are also known as pre-Shakespearean dramatists. So they are known as pre-Shakespearean dramatists and university wits both. Christopher Marlowe is considered to be the father of modern English drama. Now, William Shakespeare was heavily influenced and inspired by these university wits, which include all these person, and he was especially influenced by Christopher Marlowe, Thomas Kidd, and John Lilly. Marlowe influenced Shakespeare more in literary drama, especially with the choosing of diction in tragedy. Marlowe chose blank verse as a medium for diction in his plays. The university wits were heavily influenced by Seneca. The work of Seneca were translated during their study in the university, and hence it greatly inspired them, influenced them. The elements found in Marlowe's and especially Thomas Kidd's were bloody murder, death, revenge, assassinations filled with horror, thriller, revenge. And university wits use these elements in their writing to arouse the feeling of pity and fear on the audience, from the audience. And Shakespeare, on the other hand, imitate these elements to intensify his plot and to the entire story. And for instance, Hamlet shows the elements of death, murder, and revenge. Yet it is not only aroused pity and fear to audience but also affected the plot, which eventually made it more effective, and it mainly affects the protagonist and his position. So although William Shakespeare learned from these university wits, he excelled in his art. He proved himself beyond these university wits. Shakespeare's masters was university wits. Now, Thomas Kidd. Thomas Kidd also influenced William Shakespeare with his play, The Spanish Tragedy, his revenge tragedy. This is a revenge play and it is based on the Senecan model. It gave enthralling elements of play within a play. There is a ghost also. The play within a play is a use of another play which is fit inside the play itself. Now, in this, the play within a play is a use of another play within a play, and the ghost of the Don Andrea watches the entire play. So this technique has been used by Shakespeare in Hamlet, where he has used a play within a play, that a murder of Gonzago in Hamlet. And there is a ghost also, ghost of Hamlet's father, and in a similar way he learned this art from Spanish tragedy, where there was ghost and a ghost inside insisted to take revenge from the offender. And here in Hamlet, Hamlet enacted a play called the groups of actors to act the same scene which Claudius, his uncle, killed his Hamlet's father, and it is an element of play within a play. Murder of Gonzago. Now, John Lilly is another important university wit which influenced Shakespeare very much. His famous plays Endymion is mostly appreciated by Elizabethan. He wrote comedies mostly. His comedies influenced Shakespeare. An important element was the use of comical subplot in the play. Shakespeare also uses comical subplot in his play, which includes Midsummer Night Dream and Love Level Lost. ये शेक्सपियर ने ये जो प्ले लिखा है मिडसमर नाइट ड्रीम, ये सब इन सब से इंस्पायर्ड था जॉन लिली के वर्क से. ही ऑल्सो ही ऑल्सो यूज कॉमिकल एलिमेंट एज ए सब प्लॉट टू इवेक ह्यूमर टू ऑडियंस. तो वो ऑडियंस में एक ह्यूमर जगाना चाहते थे, एक हास्य का एलिमेंट लाना चाहते थे. यूनिवर्सिटी विट्स, द टर्म यूनिवर्सिटी विट्स वाज नॉट यूज्ड इन देयर लाइफ टाइम. They were not called university wits when they were living in the age of Elizabeth. This term was coined by George Canterbury, as I already discussed, and he was a 19th century journalist and author. Now, characteristics of these university wits. They were all Elizabethan writers. They were attending, they have studied from Oxford or Cambridge. They were pioneers of drama. Before them, there were not, drama was not much developed, and it was just interlude and morality plays, miracle play, which was not very much developed. But these writers developed drama much, and they took it to the next level. Then they were rivals of Shakespeare, they were contemporaries of Shakespeare, and they were masters of Shakespeare. So Shakespeare learned a lot from them, and they were educated, as I already discussed. Now, John Lilly. John Lilly was English writer, poet, dramatist, and playwright, and politician also. He was best known for his book Euphues, The Anatomy of Wit, and Euphues and his England. So Euphues, बाय विच ये यूफियस से यूफिज्म की शुरुआत हुई थी. यूफिज्म मीन्स क्या होता है कि एक इस तरह का राइटिंग जिसमें क्या है, किसी भी बात को, हार्श बात को बहुत ही लाइट वे में प्रेजेंट किया जाता है. जैसे कि हम किसी को कहते हैं कि डाइड, तो डाइड क्या होता है, बहुत ही हार्श हो गया, उसको पास्ड अवे, ही पास्ड अवे ऐसा बोले. इस तरह का जो स्टाइल है ये इन्हीं से स्टार्ट हुआ था, राइटिंग स्टाइल यूफिज्म. ये इनके बुक यूफियस से इंस्पायर्ड हो गए. John Lilly's mannered literary style originated in his first book in the known as Euphuism, and he studied from United Kingdom, Canterbury. Now, his comedies are mythological plays and allegorical plays are extremely witty in character. Some of his important plays are Compasse, Endymion, The Man on the Moon, Sappho and Phao, Galatea, Midas, The Woman on the Moon, Love Metamorphosis, and Mother Bombay. Now, about Christopher Marlowe. Christopher Marlowe was an English playwright, poet, and translator of Elizabethan era, and he was born in Canterbury, United Kingdom. He had a very controversial career, and he died very young at the age of 29. He died in 1593, and he was educated from Cambridge. He greatly influenced Shakespeare. He used blank verse, and in which there was an overreaching protagonist. He was foremost Elizabethan tragedies of his days. He wrote, and he was English pioneer in English Renaissance theatre. Now his important plays are Tamburlaine the Great, the first play in 1590, Jew of Malta, first successful in the black comedy or a tragic comedy. Now this Christopher Marlowe did not like much comedy. He liked tragedy a lot. He has written all tragedies. Just in this G of Malta, there are some elements of comedy. Now, this Jew of Malta inspired Shakespeare to write Merchant of Venice, and he has taken plot of this and used it in Merchant of Venice. The character of Shylock is inspired by this Jew. Now this Christopher Marlowe has written the Massacre of Paris, the tragical history of life and death of Dr. Faustus, which is a very famous play. And here concept of tragic hero is introduced. He is the first tragic hero in this whole drama. Then he has written Hero and Leander. Now we will talk about George Peele. George Peele was English translator, poet, and dramatist, and who is most noted for his supposed but not universally accepted collaboration with William Shakespeare on the play titled Adonais. So it is said that George Peele helped Shakespeare to write Titus Andronicus, his famous revenge tragedy. Now he is educated from Oxford University. He was a successful player and a playwright, and he left behind a pastoral, a romantic tragedy, a chronicle history, a mystery play, and romantic literary satire. So his output was immense. He has noted for his poetic style and decorative phrases. He had made original contribution to in the field of drama. Now some important plays. He has written the famous Chronicle of King Edward I, Arraignment of Paris, The Old Wives' Tale. This Old Wives' Tale inspired Shakespeare to write Winter Tales. So he is again inspired by this. Now this George Peele has written Love of King David and Bathsheba, The Battle of Alcazar, The Device of the Pageant, The Life and Death of Jack Straw. Now about Robert Greene. Robert Greene was a great author and a great playwright, and he has written dramas like Friar Bacon and Friar Bungy, his history of Orlando the Furioso, A Looking Glass for London and England, a Scottish history of James IV, the comical history of Ophos, the King of Aragon. Now, this Robert Greene has written a pamphlet in which he has criticized Shakespeare and called him upstart crow. Now, about Thomas Lodge. Thomas Lodge was an English physician and author, and he wrote during the age of Elizabeth and Jacobean period. And he was a great dramatist, poet, pamphlet, treatise writer, and prose writer. His important works are Wound of Civil War, Looking Glass for London and England, Rosalind. Now this Rosalind inspired Shakespeare to write As You Like It. शेक्सपियर इनसे इंस्पायर्ड होकर एज यू लाइक इट में उन्होंने लिया है इसके प्लॉट को, रोजालिंड के प्लॉट को. देन ही हैज़ रिटन ए फियर्स शैडो, द लाइफ एंड डेथ ऑफ विलियम Longbeard, treatise of the plague, defense of poetry, music, and stage play. In this वर्क, इस पैम्पलेट में इस राइटर ने, थॉमस लॉज ने क्या किया है, स्टीफन गॉसन ने जो पोएट्री की और स्टेज प्ले की जो बुराई की थी, क्रिटिसाइज किया था, उसका जवाब दिया है. Now Thomas Nash. Thomas Nash is considered the greatest of the English Elizabethan pamphleteer, and he was also a playwright, poet, and satirist. Vyangkar. Satirist means Vyangkar. He was educated from Cambridge. Some important of his work was Summer Last Will, The Terror of the Night, Unfortunate Traveler, Christ Tears Over Jerusalem, Dido, Queen of Carthage, Isle of Dogs. अब ये इनका जो अनफॉर्चुनेट ट्रैवलर कहा जाता है कि ये इसने नॉवल राइटिंग को इंस्पायर किया था. नॉवल राइटिंग इससे बहुत ज़्यादा इंस्पायर थी, अनफॉर्चुनेट ट्रैवलर से. अब इन्होंने एक बहुत ही कंट्रोवर्शियल वर्क लिखा है, क्राइस्ट टीयर्स ओवर जेरूसलम, जिसमें इन्होंने जीसस क्राइस्ट के बारे में लिखा है. एक तरह से सैटारिकल वर्क है, व्यंग रचना है, जिससे उनका बहुत ज़्यादा क्रिटिसिज्म हुआ था और इसकी वजह से उनको बेन जॉनसन के साथ जेल भी जाना पड़ा था, क्योंकि बेन जॉनसन भी इसमें इन्वॉल्व थे. और इसके बाद बहुत कम उम्र में एट द एज ऑफ 34 उनकी मौत हो गई थी, थॉमस नैश की. नाउ अब देखिए थॉमस, अब बात करते हैं हम थॉमस किड की. थॉमस किड वॉज ए इंग्लिश प्ले राइट, ऑथर ऑफ स्पेनिश ट्रेजेडी। ये रिवेंज ट्रेजेडी था, बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट प्ले है, एंड वन ऑफ द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट फिगर इन द डेवलपमेंट ऑफ इंग्लिश ड्रामास। बहुत सारे ड्रामाटिस्ट से इंस्पायर्ड हुए थे एलिजाबेथन एज में भी और जैकोबियन एज में भी, स्पेशली रिवेंज ट्रेजेडी के फील्ड में बहुत ज़्यादा इंस्पिरेशन वर्क था इनका, स्पेनिश ट्रेजेडी। और इन्होंने इस वर्क को सेनिकन ट्रेजेडी से इंस्पायर होकर लिखा था। तो इनके वर्क थे स्पेनिश ट्रेजेडी। अब इन्होंने इस यूनिवर्सिटी से एजुकेशन तो हासिल नहीं की थी किसी भी यूनिवर्सिटी से, लेकिन फिर भी उनको इस ग्रुप में रखा जाता है क्योंकि उनकी राइटिंग स्टाइल इसी तरह की थी। सो थैंक यू सो मच फॉर लिसनिंग टू मी। थैंक यू।